Wrath of Man was a good movie. Good storytelling, the back and forth that gave you the full picture of the story, going with, a roundabout way of filling in the gaps. I enjoy that type of storytelling, and this movie does a really good job at it. I think Guy Ritchie is really good at that form of telling his stories. I thought the acting was great. I didn't find any issues with the actors. I thought they all did a great job. I did think the script, though it was good, was cheesy in its dialogue, and not in a good way, in a kind of annoying way. And maybe it's like a regional thing where there's the region of the country where this was shot or whatnot was probably the reason. I don't know if that made it more cheesy, but it felt over the top, especially when they were the security team or the guards that were picking up the money. I mean, it was just so cheesy, so forced, and you're like, it kind of takes you out of the movie. But when it gets into the middle of the movie towards the end, that's when it's really good. The action sequences, the pacing picks up. It's a lot more Jason Statham-ish movie, if you will. But I just thought the dialogue was just super cheesy and generic, if you will. With a lackluster ending, I thought that ending was kind of dumb when basically Jason Statham shows up at discount Chris Evans' apartment and is sitting in on the chair and with his gun, and I'm like wasn't he shot like 10 times? And shouldn't it be a little bit more difficult for him after he kills discount Chris Evans and he walks away with a limp? I'm like, wait, the dude was shot in his shoulder, in his, on his both arms, in his kneecap, and the dude's walking around like he sprained an ankle. I'm like, come on, he shouldn't even be able to lift up that gun to shoot him. And I just thought it was very anticlimactic, and otherwise, I would have rated this movie a little bit higher because I was entertained. It's not like I was bored during this movie, except for the beginning. The first 15 minutes were kind of dumb, even though the movie saves it because of the story, the way they were telling the story. It's just that until you get the full story, you think of that first part as dumb, but then you're like, okay, and it kind of saves it, but not really, But and all these double crosses were kind of predictable. I predicted that, I think his name was Bullet, was gonna be a double crosser, and then when you see that discount Chris Evans is getting angrier and angrier with his army vet friends, you're like, yeah, he's gonna be the main double crosser at the end. And sure enough, that's what happens, and it's pretty predictable. But all in all, The Wrath of Man for me gets a B minus score. It could have been a little bit better, with a little bit of tweaks. I think that if they would have condensed a little bit more, not had such a cheesy dialogue, but that could have been through regional purposes, and I'm just not getting it. But I still think B minus for this movie is a pretty good score. But anyways, those are just my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. And like always, that's a wrap.